Good thing, I suppose.
Here we go. We can talk about filthy greed on air here. And welcome everyone to the Mechanics Institute. On this Tuesday evening, we are back for round 5 of the 2021 April Tuesday Night Marathon. I'm Abel Talamantes, chess director of the Mechanics Institute, and joining me is Grandmaster Nick DeFermian and FIDE Master Paul Whitehead. And we are here to cover round 5, but right off the bat, we have a result, and it's on board 1. It's this game that you see here. Gadir Guseinov and Brian Escalante agreed to a draw after 12 moves.
So this is in advanced French or something like that, Nick?
It looks like it, but it's a little strange. Black's castle queenside.
Definitely double-edged.
And I'm actually looking at the game analysis. The very last move that was played, CXB3, it's saying it's a bad move. But nevertheless, Brian offered the draw. Gadir accepted it. So Gadir came into this round as the only 4 out of 4, so he has 4.5. He can do no worse than be tied for first place going into the last round. What do you think of this? Was this him just trying to avoid what he thinks might have been his toughest opponent, and then go into the last round with the opportunity to win?
Yeah, just looks like a very professional decision. Chess-wise, I kind of like the white position. Here has been playing so well.
And when Brian offered it, he thought on it for like 2-3 minutes before accepting it. So he might have thought he might have been a little bit better, but at the end of the day, he wanted to save his energy and go into the last round probably. Especially after last week where Rui and Josiah sort of pushed him into long games.
Speaking of those two,
the board 2 matchup is interesting. National Master Eric Hahn, who is playing white and defeated Kyron Griffith last week. He is playing International Master Josiah Stearman. And here's the position out of an Italian game.
And Josiah, of course, with something a little bit double-edged and sharp, advancing, the pawn to g5. So weakens a few squares, but it takes space.
yeah, I mean, I'm now sort of liking these kind of positions for Black. I like this aggressive. Of course, if you lose control of f5, the game is over, but, or positionally might be over. But before the middle game or before the end game, the gods have placed the middle game. And that's where Josiah really shines.
And his idea is to castle queenside, right?
Oh, yeah, must
Yeah,
be.
for sure. And White's going to feel nervous about castling on the king side. So.
And for those watching in the chat, I've put the link to the Tuesday Night Marathon. So if you want to follow the complete standings, the pairings, everything is on the event page following that link.
And Josiah has a little bit of an issue here that White is going to strike with bishop a4, I think, if he castles queenside. So there's a little bit of a problem here for Black completing his development, I think. Maybe that's why he's thinking for so long here.
Yeah.
I might have even, I guess bishop a4 on the previous move might have been a move too, but
Yeah, it looks very aggressive for black, but what do you do? I mean, and if you don't castle long, if you just trade on e4, you're a bit worse. You go
Right.
pawn to d4, he takes it, and that's also quite fine for Eric. So, you know,
This is a good
Josiah's
player, Eric Hahn. He's good.
okay, worried about that bishop a4. He plays a6 so he can hit you with b5.
And then there's the. I mean, should White do that anyway? Maybe,
And
and
then
then
go
make
back where he came from.
it. Well, that Black would not feel comfortable about castling, or maybe now's the time to play d4 or something. I don't know.
And as we see how this develops, let's go to board 3 and take a look at Elliot Winslow playing white against Max Gadajlovic.
Okay. Now these two haven't played yet, right? Probably.
Yeah, they have not played in the marathon anyway, but probably not at all.
Mad Max Gadajlovic or
Max the Axe.
Max the Axe.
Max the Axe.
Yeah.
And he
Oh,
is
it-
Canadian. He is Canadian.
So what opening does this come from? Could be anything, right? Like even a Bogo Indian or something.
Yeah, probably a Queen's Indian.
Yeah, there you go.
It says Queen's Indian Kasparov variation.
Okay.
That's
That's what it
or
says.
pawn to a3.
Petrosian,
And
right?
Yes, it was always called the Petrosian variation, and now
And it does say that also, actually. It says both.
These world champions, they like this move a3 on the fourth move.
now we need a Paul Whitehead variation of the Queen's Indian.
The Whitehead variation.
Some cheap shot. Something cheap.
And check
yeah.
out this game. This is Ethan Gould, rated 1745, playing white against Michael Walder.
Oh, a tough pairing. You know, Gadir finds it tough against Michael Walder, so let's see how Ethan can do.
And a lot of moves have been played. I mean,
Oh, White's got an issue here.
Ooh, back rank checkmate.
Queen
Oh.
e7 is a shot.
yeah, that is bad. That
I mean,
is
White's
bad.
already down a piece.
Yeah,
What a shot.
nice
That
shot.
just-
Nice
that
shot.
wins the game.
Nice shot. So going on to board 4 here is David Askin against Rui Yang Yan.
Wow.
And David's
This is,
going for it, looks like.
Yeah, Ruyang has backed up, but she's controlling squares.
Yeah, and
Not-
G4 doesn't really contribute, I think, somehow. Very tough for White to get in here now. And Black might be much better here. What do you think, Nick?
Well, you're right. If black holds the squares, then you've got the
Wow.
better pawn structure. But the knight on e8, somehow white must be okay here.
Yeah, I see your point there.
But yeah, what should white do? It's really hard finding a constructive move.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
And
That's what I'm always thinking when I play chess. How can I find a constructive move?
And Mike Walder did get the win. So quick win for Mike Walder. Check out this position. This is board 1 in the under 1800 section. The co-leader, Sauce Jacobian, Sacrifice and Crush, playing white against Joshua Lamstein. Look at this pawn chain.
Yeah.
Wow.
This out of a Caro Khan.
Oh, black has got to be good here.
Nice is those light squared bishops got exchanged. So
Yeah.
black has the better bishop, and you're going to somehow maneuver a black knight all the way around to A4 and castle that pawn on B2.
Yeah. This looks like inevitable breakthrough or something like that. You've even got B5, B4 as a possibility. And you can put you put one knight on A4 and another knight on B5. Something's got to give here.
Something's got to give. And then the other co-leader in the under 1800, Ivan Zong, is playing black here against Nicholas Brown.
Oh, Nicholas Brown.
Yeah, he's played in these tournaments for a long time. Really nice to see him playing.
Yeah.
And I like his position.
Yeah, I like white.
Maybe he can go pawn to F4 and just take some kingside squares.
I like it. F4. Bring that bishop back. Yeah, get the rooks up on the third rank. Sack, mate.
Sack, mate, just like that, huh? And going on to board 5 of the top section, this is Jeffrey Wang playing white against FIDE master Eric Lee.
I really love this black knight on E5.
Yeah. This is great for black.
And with a light squared bishop, that knight is going to live there as long as it wants, right?
Yeah, it's a terrific position for black. Half open C file. There's the E file. White has nothing on the F file.
But maybe you could get some queenside play, pawn to A4.
This is true.
And there you have it, A4. And Lex, thank you for contributing in the chat. I mean, everyone must be so fixated on the games. They're like paralyzed of typing.
Now I look at that knight on E5 and I scoff at it, Nick, because I say to myself, well, what's it doing? It actually has to do something. Yeah.
Now, who was it who taught you that? Smyslov or
Polugievsky.
Okay.
Yeah. This contemptuous view of these strong pieces that are just sitting there looking pretty and not actually doing anything. You know,
all aesthetics, huh?
Well,
it's one thing getting your pieces to these nice squares, but then they actually have to go to work. You know, so
checking on this other game here in the top section, Chelsea Zhu.
The word that Polugievsky used was, he said, now the knight gets active. You know, first it was sitting on the pretty square, and then when it moved and did something, it really became something, you know, by getting active.
Well, we'll keep an eye on that knight and see if it ever gets active.
Let's see if it moves or if it even has to.
Oh, Chiron's got a nice game here.
And up a pawn, it looks like.
Oh, as well. Yikes, this has definitely gone south for white.
And check this position. Pranav Satish is white against National Master Michael Wang. And we saw that shot, Mike. Nice win. Mike Walder in the chat. Those bishops look strong.
Yeah, if black can find some shot here. Well, bishop e3 for a start, maybe.
Out winning a pawn.
And then hitting the knight. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a couple of excellent things. It's just terrible. It's also like rook. Yeah, doubling rooks on the C line, but bishop e3 is just a great pawn to start with.
So we'll keep an eye on that. Let's jump back to board 2 with Micro Bear and the Outlaw, Josie Wales.
That's a great game. Of, two very talented young players.
Tough matchup. Yeah.
And Josiah decided he had the castle king side.
And white put the queen on that awkward c2 square. What was the point of that? To play d4?
And just put it there.
Maybe just to mark time and make a move and see what black did.
Now Eric's beginning to think. He's using clock.
Yeah. And they have like the same amount of clock, so.
Yeah, I'm not sure about queen c2 there.
And this game means a lot now that the Gadir drew, because a winner in this game sort of gives them a chance still.
And Josiah can't play Gadir in the last round since they've already played.
They've already played, right. So Gadir could play Max or Elliot, whoever wins that. And Gadir can't play Rui.
I think queen to c2 was wrong. I just don't see the point.
Maybe he's going to castle queenside.
And then play d4.
I just don't know. Like, he doesn't maybe want to cast king side, and he's.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's you're getting the impression that it's starting to go Josiah's way the last move.
A6 was a clever move.
And Max is in the chat, I think making fun of my use of the slang to describe that Eric and Josiah's had the same amount of time. I think they had the same amount of clock. And
so this is board 2, and board 1 was a draw. So what about board 3?
That's the Elliott game, and Max.
B5, heating things up a bit.
That's an interesting move, huh?
And Max seems to be another player that sort of pushes it and goes for it and willing to try things.
Yeah. Yeah, we're very impressed by Elliott too. His B5 is an interesting move. So if white plays B4, that looks like kind of the obvious response. Is black's going to take and then move the knight somewhere to G4 or something?
Yeah,
Then white could
If
maybe
we-
take. Yeah, go ahead.
What if we would attack that pawn with take and bishop back to f8?
There you go. Yeah.
It's just complicated. I mean, maybe you can go bishop a3.
Bishop a3.
But yeah, Max, he mixes it up.
Yeah, and Elliot's not afraid to get involved in the complications either, you know? He's
Oh,
not.
yeah. Well, he's got too much experience for that.
Yeah.
You know, maybe there's a move knight to b3, so that if pawn to b4, knight takes a5, in the bishop.
Wow.
Starts the tactics.
Yeah.
They're just not sure what's going on there.
Well, both players are lost. We should just move on.
Let's go back. Let's go back to this other game we were looking at here with Sauce Jacobian and Joshua Lamstein. What should Black do here? Because I mean, those pawns look fantastic, but it looks like White is.
Well, White's now finally got a little bit of something, which is the E file.
Fighting back, yeah.
Ouch. The plays happened on the king side, and Black wanted to just keep that stable and tie him down with on the queen side. Now
Yeah, I
knight to
think-
d8 is forced.
Maybe Black played on the wrong side of the board, but still. I mean, Black's advantage. Black had both sides of the board in a way. I mean, I can see the temptation to play f6, and White still has to do something here. His pieces look pretty, but maybe take on h6.
And Lex is in the chat saying Paul's questioning of a knight on the outpost, of course, is worth considering. It's that is the minor piece really active. My experience, I know not that credible, is that those jumpers knights suddenly cover so many squares that what appeared to be harmless slashes your throat. Donkeys aiding the checkmate for my opponent. That's when you realize the value of principled chess.
Put your pieces on active squares and listen to my philosophy. Both players are lost. Well, I don't know about that. But yeah, I mean,
Wow, look at this position here.
chess is full of odd little circumstances. Black is up a queen. Oh no, White just retook it. Still, the black is now going to regain a pawn. Maybe rook e2. Looking good for Black still, even though he's a pawn down. But
Yeah.
White must have some serious drawing chances now, probably.
And this is the knight that we speak of, right?
Or I could be wrong.
This
Rook e2.
This was the knight formerly on e5.
Yeah, the knight formerly known as.
the one on the good knight on e5. Wow, guys, look at the ending of the Michael Wang game here. Michael Wang did end up going bishop e3, then taking the pawn on d4, and then
Just got in.
trapping. Yeah.
Yeah.
So nice win by Michael Wang. Fantastic.
Crushing finish there.
What bishop says?
A good bishop. Board 2.
Yeah, this will be the battle of the day. This on board 2.
Yeah, Michael's playing good, and he's a good player. And we just learned something from the youth. TL and then colon DR is short for too long, didn't read. I had no idea that was something.
I had no idea
No
either.
clue. No clue whatsoever.
I love it. TLDR.
Oh my gosh. I saw something online where mom asks a daughter, like, if she knows what these things are, and one of them was a Walkman. So she goes, "Do you know what a Walkman is?" And then she goes, "A person that helps someone cross the street."
Right.
A Walkman. Oh my gosh, that was funny.
Walkmans are old
So what
old
else?
hat now.
Help someone cross the street. All right, let's. Well, what do we think here? Gosh, this game seems like it's kind of.
Well, I mean, I'm waiting for Hosea to play Bishop H3.
Right.
Maybe
Some
White's
vicious-
doing the right thing here. Just kind of.
Some vicious attacking move.
Black would probably be all right with D4, but it's probably not something that he wants to do.
Yeah.
F5 is still one of the crucial squares here. Both players are lost. I mean,
Yeah, what are we watching this for? Check on Rui.
Now, Paul had said Rui was going to win this game, so that she was better. And
well,
She's going to counter punch
what
her
do you
way.
think? Yeah.
oh, that white squared bishop is just, there's no counterpart to that. If she can just get her knight out, like to D5 or something, then
Yeah, that'd be a great square.
Well, knight C2 makes sense.
I mean, yeah, the knight can go to B5.
To B5?
Right, C2 and then B5.
Well, okay, so if knight C2, what's black going to do? Take on C3 and play bishop F3?
oh,
You're going
you're
to
not-
play bishop C5 or rook C8 or something?
maybe you
Or
just
play bishop F3 right away? It's a little tricky.
yeah, knight C2 is definitely the best move.
White needs to do something before they're
Yeah.
just kind of overwhelmed.
Under 9 minutes, too, is David asking. As he's contemplating that one, let's go back to Elliot Winslow and Max the Axe.
And if Elliot is still thinking, oh, he did go pawn to E4, so
Yeah, and then knight
but
C5.
oh look, down to 9 minutes. I was worried that he'd sort of choke a bit. That pawn to B5 just made him nervous.
Yeah.
I think White should just take on B5 and forget about trying to get an advantage here. Well, I guess B4, knight D3, or takes first and then knight B3. What D3?
Oh, you want to grab a pawn, but this bishop would come to A6 and like pawn takes B4, pawn takes B4, knight to D3, knight takes B5, bishop A6, and looking at that rook on F1.
So what happens after knight D3? White plays queen C2 or something like that, and then is just knight C1, rook C1, and black is maybe white's got a little bit of pressure there, threatening, or maybe he's just not got anything.
Yeah, but leaving that bishop on B7, that makes a lot of sense. Just
I
leave
like
it
that.
captive.
Now that's a comment that we should all pay attention to.
Well,
White just leaves the bishop on B7 as a bad piece. Knight A4. Knight A4 is more forcing in a way because it forces the knight to move, or forces an issue with the C3.
But knight A4, then you can take pawn on B5.
And if bishop A6, queen A4.
Yes.
Yeah. So in he goes, and Elliott loses the minor exchange. Is that what it's called?
The minor exchange?
Yeah, when you lose a bishop for a knight.
Oh, look at Lex has a question in the chat. When you're saying that Elliott's down to 9 minutes and Max has 19, is it worth material? Like what value of material would you put a time advantage on?
So Lex, I'd say about half a pawn that time difference.
About half a pawn, you think?
I mean, and the players don't think so. You're still playing normal chess, but in practice, it's a real advantage.
Well, we'll see how he plays this out because Elliott anticipated all of this. Oh, and then there's the move.
If I were Max, I'd trade the knight for bishop and play pawn to C6, trying to break up that white center.
And that's what it looks like. What will be the follow-up move? And
Still a sharp position. White's got moves like knight B3 and knight A5, knight C5, and this is a sharp one.
So Josiah just had to go forward. That's the direction he goes. Pawn to G4 loosens his own king side a little bit, but right, starts some action over there.
And Stearman castled on that side.
Yeah, both players have issues on the king side, or a little bit. So what happens? If knight takes bishop C5, and already Josiah is probably thinking about sacking the exchange in some way. If you take with the bishop, yeah. Now knight H4, that's too nuts to do.
Yeah, knight h4 might have taken the exchange and captured on e4, looking to trade down.
So rook d2, but that comes perilously close to losing the bishop. Why, white must be certain that this works tactically, because there's some problems here with black playing d4, or there might be. But the white bishop can come out to f4, right, Nick? After trading on d4?
Yeah, that would be no problem for white if d4, c takes d4, e takes d4, bishop f4.
But if that doesn't happen, where's white's ready to play knight h4 now?
Yes, and make use of those weakened kingside squares.
And bishop f3, is that going to get anywhere for black? Let's say you take on f3 and play queen h3. Now, if white plays knight f5, you can play queen takes f3. It might be, I guess white goes back, queen d1 and queen f1 or something.
Take on f3, that f5 square is awfully loose.
Yeah, I know.
I don't think he wants to do that unless he has some special continuation.
And Eric Hahn offered a draw. Eric,
That could be a very wise thing to do here.
wise for who?
For Eric.
Well, I've got our own self-interest here at stake. Don't take it, Josiah. We need the action.
Just the action.
All right, so I predict black plays king h8.
Can you imagine that? You offer a draw, and then the declining response is king h8.
No, I mean, knight h4 is strong, I guess. Maybe too strong to allow. Although black can play knight e7 in response. So what about, but then white's got bishop c5. Very complicated. Just very complicated.
And
I mean, I prefer white. He did trade. So he must have some idea. Okay, attack. Glad to see that.
queen.
Thank you, Josiah.
Yeah, this is not.
I'm behind on the.
Just refresh yourself.
Yeah.
Queen h3 played by Stearman.
So he's stopping knight f5 right now, I guess, because of queen f3. So does white have time to play queen d1 and queen f1? Queen d1 and queen f1?
Yeah, because the endgame would just be good for white. So we need an attacking plan. Queen d1, I like. Good move.
And
It's got to be the only move, almost.
And we'll keep an eye on this game, but we're going to switch real quick to the under 1800 section top board. Here is the position now for Joshua Lamstein, who's black, against Sas Hakovian. He took the fight to the king side.
Now, Sosa's done well here. I mean, at least it seems that way to get this far.
Looked like he was in trouble, and now he's out of it. The position seems like both sides have play.
Yeah. Black played on the wrong side of the board, I think.
And wow, look at this. This is board 2 in the now they're trading in the under 1800. Ivan Zong who has a share of the lead at 3.5 against Nicholas Brown.
Oh, you just can't take that bishop on e2 because of rook to e3. So that is a piece, and it's
Oh, that's a tough one.
Yep. Game over.
Tough one. Tactics. Back to Elliot and
Something
Yaks.
happened. Yeah.
Let's see what went down there. Elliot down to almost 3.5 minutes.
yes. Okay, Mike, we need suggestions for Elliot here. 3 minutes.
What do you think, Mike?
His position's a little shaky.
Knight b3 is my idea.
And if we take the pawn on d5.
I guess I'll just take it back.
Sounds good. Yeah, all right.
Simple.
It's the only kind of chess I understand is the really,
Simple.
really slow and
You
simple.
take it, I just take it back, and then that's it.
But Elliot, don't think for 2 minutes before making Paul's move.
So I've got this class starting tomorrow.
Advanced attacking techniques.
Well, I mean, we're going to look at some chess games and, some famous attacking games, and hopefully we'll learn something.
Yeah, and I mean, you pull out some games that maybe a lot of people are not familiar with.
There's that too.
There's a lot of players that have a lot of familiarity with, a lot of, famous games, but like you'll pull on top level games from local and things of that nature, which is an interesting element that some people may not be aware of.
Elliot's chewing up the clock here.
So Mike suggests pawn takes c6 first before knight b3, and
that makes sense.
Yeah, maybe that was a little cleaner.
Max with plenty of time to kind of work this down.
But if pawn takes d5, is pawn to e5 a good move? I guess the knight could go to e4.
It's getting tactical right at the last minute here.
And Vishva.
Boy, Elliot's with 1 minute. Yikes.
Yeah. It's getting tactical with little time to work it through. And going back to board 2 and seeing what is going on here.
Okay, so
what did happen here? Queen d1, Hosea.
So I'll go back. Yeah, Queen d1.
Hosea took on e4. White took back. I see what happened. Yeah.
very aggressive to take back with the F pawn, positionally aggressive.
Yeah.
And maybe it's very good because
it looks
you've
like
got those white squares and knight F5.
Which you can't play right away. So this black is going to black play H5 or something. Then bishop D1. Black starts to run out of, but then queen H2 check and
Well, would
takes
Josiah Now, knight to d4 doesn't look like it's good tact.
So another game where like Hosea is he's risking a lot here. I mean, positionally, if he doesn't crash through.
You gotta check this game out. This was the David Askin Rui Yang Yan game. It looks like David was able to suppress that attack that she had going over there.
Yeah, I'll say. This is very unclear now, huh?
Yeah, but I mean, White's got some squares too.
Maybe trade and play rook c7 and rook d8, king f7.
That's a good plan and slightly better in the end game.
I'm just trying to, get out of trouble with black.
And I'm going to go back to board 3 only because Elliot's in a time scramble here.
Bishop f3 is even more ambitious, huh?
Probably Elliot should just capture with the knight. See if he can do that before he runs under 1 minute. Look with the pawn. Okay, ending the knight. If knight to c5, pawn to d6. Probably not.
I'll definitely ask that, Lex, in the chat. We'll talk about the stress on players and Wang Hao, but let's cover that after the games because that is a curious thing and a real part of chess.
Now knight g4 can be met by knight e4 or knight... White's game could be hanging by a thread here.
It's an exciting position. I like that move, queen d3. You leave everything just sort of hanging. It looks like black should have something, but there doesn't seem to be a discover that wins anything.
All right, so this was obvious, knight g4. What did Elliot have here? Knight e4 or knight d1? Okay.
He played knight e4. And if something like pawn to f5, knight to c5, pawn to d6, well, you might win something.
Pawn to h3 then, of knight to e5. Then you could sack the exchange and play knight d7. I don't know.
It's wonderfly sharp. And I think sacrifices are forced. You can't just sit with white.
Nick rooting for the sack.
Yes, and
we love to sack other
people's pieces. Yeah, like OPP, other people's pieces. Give away other people's pieces.
Your question in the chat. Yes, it's much nicer to sacrifice the pieces when you're commenting, and there's no stress. Wang Hao would still be playing if he could do that.
Yeah, and for those that don't know, Wang Hao announced his retirement from competitive chess. Just saying the stress is just a lot. It's a burden. Taking a peek at Stearman's game against Eric Hahn here. And looks like Stearman knew exactly what he wanted to do. He's playing these moves quick.
And his position just looks really bad. That knight on f5.
White's ready to take over here.
Okay, he's at least stopped knight f5, but then king e2, the queen's in danger of being trapped.
King e2, knight g6.
Oh, you've got a square too.
Oh, look at that. Yeah.
But then rook h1, knight f4, queen takes f4.
Yeah, and queen takes h1 and queen takes g5 check.
Yeah.
You win the game. So.
How about that? Tactics. Those are the easy kind of tactics. Not like that move that that Stockfish saw in the game we were looking at yesterday.
And in the other game we were looking at, Max is still thinking. He's just under 7 minutes now. So he is trying to work out that position. Elliot with 47 seconds. The tension.
Well, Elliot's position seems okay, but can he hang on with that block?
Going back to board 3, Elliot's move, 30 seconds left.
I think Eric Hahn is in some trouble. Rook a2 played.
And knight takes f2.
Oh, what did Elliot do here? Oh, queen e3. I mean, I guess he decided he had to do that.
But that's really queen e3. And how are you getting that knight out of there? But still, you're losing too many pawns.
Yeah. Black got too much activity. It's interesting, Nick, your idea of taking on c6 first intuitively, I think, was the right move.
Well, that's Mike Walder's move. And yeah, probably it was better than what Elliot did.
Keeping the tension wasn't good for White, I think.
Well, this move h3 is terrible. Throw the knight on c5, even if you have to sacrifice it there.
Right.
Bottle everything up. You might get two connected fast pawns for the knight if the pawn goes to d6. And
wow. And check this out. Look at Rui's game against David Askin. Kyron Griffith got the win against Chelsea.
Yeah, that was horrible. This is very sharp, huh? But starting to go Rui's way a little bit, maybe.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like she counterpunched back to looking good, and David Askin with under 40 seconds.
Yeah, this is now tough for White, maybe.
Just say, yeah, so a bishop to g4 and push those fast pawns. Must be winning for Black.
Yeah.
Back to board 2. Stearman plays king h8.
How is Josiah going to get out of this one? But
Yeah, I mean, what? Wait a minute. Rook h6 check. Did White have Rook h6 check? No, I guess not. Close to it.
Queen could have defended on the.
Why knight f5? Can't Black just take now on f5? And
Oh my God, this is.
why is White doing this? Just satisfied for a draw, I guess.
Oh, Eric,
Yeah,
Eric.
that's too bad. It seemed like White had a big positional advantage there that he's kind of throwing away.
And in Elliot's game, knight, I think everything was played as you predicted. Knight f2, queen e3, queen takes e3, rook takes e3. Now black on move.
Well, Stearman will play this game for a win now for a long time, probably.
I was about to ask, now that he sort of was able to come back and relieve that pressure, does it give him the fuel to press on now?
Yeah, Black has an outside H pawn, something to play for a while anyway. So what here now? Double on the 7th? Maybe not good. Looks like Black should be better, but White still's got some tricky moves like knight d6 and
So Matt just plays circumspectly and exchanges the knight, still a pawn ahead.
yeah. This is very tough for Elliott now. Bishop f8. I think bishop f8 might have been better, but I don't know. Maybe not. Now, Elliott, why not play? Oh, I see. You can't play knight a5 because of bishop d4. Now, if only White can play knight a5 and knight c6, everything probably be okay. Elliott's got no time here.
12
Ooh.
seconds. 12 seconds.
What? Oh, I see. Huh.
And
Now,
Eric Hahn and Josiah are both at 1 minute in their game. Just flipping over there just to see the position. Mike Walder thinks Josiah's a little better.
Yeah, likely to be decided on time. Normally, this game would be a draw. Oh, he just give up the f5 pawn? Now he
That's
has
a very odd move, too. King f3, what does it do?
And Max has won the game against Elliot Winslow. This is the final position.
with a checkmate and moves.
Yep.
Elliott's having a hard time.
And Guseynov is in the chat of this game, sort of commenting on the game, going over moves. So Guseynov was following this because I think Max will be Gadir's opponent in the final round. Rui gets it done, defeats David Askin. Fantastic game from Rui. And here we go. Eric Hahn and Josiah Stearman. Josiah now up a pawn. Seconds left from both. And hey there, Art of Attack. I believe that is Arthur Liu.
Arthur Liu. Well, thanks, Arthur, for getting the book.
Can black do this? I guess he can because
Well,
bishop
take it.
f5, you can pin it and then play rook f8, and then
Well, then rook f3 will guard that
yeah, that's
bishop.
yeah. What is going on here?
This
You're gonna sack
lack
this
of
down?
time. Lack of time.
Yeah, the mistake on Hosea's part for sure.
Gave the pawn back, and now he's worse. Ooh, check, but also strange. Take the pawn.
The players have no regard for material.
Wow,
They're just throwing out moves.
my gosh.
And Josiah declines to repeat the position,
Yeah.
which he should. Now he's a pawn up again.
You know this is going to end badly.
D8.
This is going to end badly for someone.
Well, I think for Eric,
Yeah, White has really been misplaying this. Why he gave it? Why did Hosea play b4?
time pressure, but he wins the B pawn now,
Yeah.
and that's a nice pass B pawn. Oh, Eric's going down, I'm afraid.
Ends up badly for both players. Well, this is now lost, I'm sure.
But we'll see.
Oh, look at that. What a move that king.
Yes, how
E1.
do you free that rook? Is there some sneaky
E4
checkmate?
check. Oh no, he didn't have E4 check. He almost had it.
Oh, he gave up the F pawn.
But I think he had to, Nick.
Okay, well he wins the
The B
Oh.
pawn.
and you know what? That is the wrong color of pawn. So salvation.
So well, is White actually drawing this? Incredible.
Got the king to H1. Yes, he sees it, and the game is over.
Wow.
Even Josiah can't win this.
Yeah, wow. Yeah.
Well, this is this poetic justice here.
And Josiah's chasing that bishop. Oh my gosh. He's like he wants to get after that bishop.
He won't go pawn to E4 and give him the clean draw, but now he'll do it. Oh,
Wow. What a game.
and takes.
What a game. That's some action
Okay,
games.
Josiah.
Jeez. And Vishva Nanuganda in the chat, wrong colored corner. Exactly.
Wow.
Time pressure brings
I knew
out
it
the
would
worst.
end up badly for both players.
Hey, and check this game out. I was following this game, but like there was so much going on in the other games. But this is board 2 of the under 1800 section. This was that game we were looking at where Nicholas Brown was going to lose a piece, right? And he did lose
a piece.
He did lose a piece, but he found it difficult to make progress in this position. Did Black?
Who found it difficult to make progress?
Black did.
Well, Black can just play rook b8 and pawn to b4, and that's it. Game over.
Yeah, but Black didn't see that.
Or, you know,
It
or
was,
Also
even
stop.
b4 right away. Or rook e8 and rook e4 check and rook take, you know, something. I think there's a bunch of paths to victory here.
and Arthur's in the chat saying rook b8 and then b4. And then now that you said it, he considers himself FM level thinking.
Hey, you know, there's nothing much
If you-
to it.
If you
know?
saw what Paul was playing in his arena, I don't know if you would be.
Actually, I finished strongly. I beat a couple of young whippersnappers at the end there.
And here's this other game. Sauce Jacobian got to this position from where he was at.
Okay, that he really turned that one around.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And that was it. Yep.
That, and won the rook.
And then he came up and like just took everything. So Sauce Jacobian is in prime position because the person he was tied with drew. That was Ivan Zong. And Tom Mazer, yep. No. I'll give her the message. And Judith, did you get that? I'll shoot her a text just in case.
Well, I'm puzzled by the games in this round. I mean, starting off with the Gadir game.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure we're going to see Max and Gadir in the final round. So that should be a lot of fun. So the games are going to start at... oh, perfect. Yeah, come back and join us, Tom, Paul's class, especially that Advanced Attacking Techniques Wednesday. So the final round is going to start at 8 p.m. We will pick up the broadcast a few minutes after. So what we're going to do now is take a little break while we update the standings and pairings. And we will be back shortly for the start of round 6 of the Tuesday night marathon. All right, we'll be back shortly, folks. And here we go.
Have to get back to Twitch though.
Yep. And welcome back, everyone. The start of round 6, the final round of the Tuesday night marathon. And the pairings went a little differently than I thought because I knew Rui and Brian Escalante had 4 points, and I thought Max Gadajlovic with 4 was going to be Gadir's opponent, but Eric with that draw also has 4 points, and he is the one playing Gadir Guseyanov, and I'm guessing it had to do with the color allocation because Max was due black, as was Gadir. So Eric Hahn is white against Gadir Guseyanov, and Gadir's the sole leader at 4.5 points. Eric with 4, and this is the position. What do you guys think?
Classic accelerated dragon.
Yeah.
Got to go bishop to b3 here.
This is John Donaldson and Jeremy Silman territory.
And then on board 2, we have a great matchup. I think this game will be fantastic to follow. International Master Josiah Stearman against FIDE Master Max Gadajlovic.
Oh, yeah. 2 unrelenting players.
Who is going to be more aggressive?
Exactly. And Elliot withdrew from the tournament after his loss to Max in the last round. So our board 3 is this actually the board? That is not the board 3. Actually, I don't have Rui and Brian. Brian Escalante and Rui Yang Yan are playing on board 2. So we'll pull that game as soon as I get it, because to me that's a fascinating game. But here we have National Master Michael Wang and National Master Mike Walder.
Oh, this is a tough. This is some kind of Kopek system.
Yeah. So okay. It's
White's really slowed it down though with H3.
Yeah.
And I'll be right back, guys.
But that makes sense. I wonder if Mike could go pawn to d5.
Yeah, throw the spanner in the works.
It probably doesn't work. You're not to use 2 tempi to strike in the center like that. You're not usually going to win the battle.
And if E5, what, 94 or 97?
Yeah, I was thinking knight d7 to cause that pawn trouble. Maybe bishop to b5 would kind of pin both knights so that you can't take on e5. Well, there's normal moves like g6 or e6.
I played Danny Kopek once.
I think he died a few years ago, didn't he?
Yeah. Maybe more than a few. I played him at a Lloyd's Bank tournament in London. 2 Americans got paired with each other. But I crushed him.
Says it with glee.
Just apropos of nothing, I crushed him.
And here we have Brian Escalante and Rui.
Yeah, those white knights seem to have some squares, so be a little better for Brian.
Wow, look at that.
Well, start with bishop takes b3 now.
Oh.
Bishop h6 check and castles. King e7. Knight d5 without even thinking. Now that king is looking funny on e7, maybe. Bishop check and rook d8.
And
Yeah,
Brian is
that's
playing these moves fast.
So is Rui, though. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, maybe a little too fast. It's funny how they play these
Wow.
moves so quickly.
Look, look at this position with.
The Blitz arena was at 5. Yeah.
Exactly. You missed the arena. So
Here I am, I'm playing these games trying to figure out how the horsey still moves, and they're like playing it out as quickly as they can.
So we were like half joking who's going to be the more aggressive. Here we go. I think we
Brooklyn
got
Cyclone.
Sal in the chat.
Sal
Matera.
Matera.
Yeah.
He is such a fantastic addition to the Chess Cafe.
and we get this wonderful history in the Chess Cafe. I mean, Alexi fills us in on all the women's chess
Oh God!
issues, but
You got
Sal
with the
fills us in the New York area and way back in the
Marshall in New York. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he was telling us about this time he was playing Walter Brown a game when in the U.S. Junior, and
That's a while back.
and Bobby
Sal.
Fischer walked in and was watching the game.
Oh man, that's a good story.
Oh, it's fantastic stories. I mean, can you imagine Bobby Fischer watching your game
Yeah.
while you're about to make a move? Kind of intimidating, maybe.
And looking at you like you're about to make the biggest mistake of your life.
Well, Sal said that he was going to make a good normal move, but then when Fisher was there, I mean, what could you do? You felt the pressure. And
I think Black needs to take on C3, yeah. And Black doesn't want to castle on the king side because this reminds me of that thing that we were talking about, that Bronstein was the first player to ever castle on the queen side in the King's Indian, Black side of the King's Indian. He was boasting that he was the first player ever to castle with Black in a King's Indian. Castle on the queen side.
Sal saying he choked. You choked in that game you were playing?
Yeah, that's what he said.
Oh, well. Back to Gadir and Eric Hahn. Gadir only needs a draw to guarantee a tie for first, but I think he'll be going for the win to take all the money.
Yeah, Black has a nice game here already, right?
well, white is okay too. Everything's solid there. But Black has the bishops, but white has a little more space.
Yeah.
And then like rook e1 and maybe bishop g5, b4, b5.
Yeah, I like that b4, b5 idea for white. Fischer spooked Sal Matera.
I don't know if Carlsen would have that effect. Just he's intense, but nobody was as intense as Fischer.
Yeah, it was pretty
Did you
intense.
ever meet Fischer, Nick?
Not really. He was in a group I was at. I didn't talk to him much.
Oh, wow. But you have defeated Magnus Carlsen before.
Long ago when he was really young.
He was like,
Still, you got to get them while they're.
you have to, yeah, you got it.
Yeah, it's the only chance. Capablanca if you got him while he was young.
Yeah, you got to get them while they're
Well,
young.
there were the players that you couldn't get when they were young, like Capablanca, Mershevsky, probably. They were already full-fledged masters when they were 6 years old and stuff like that. Crazy to think about.
This would be a fantastic game if it were a blitz. I think these two players. I mean, I'm looking forward to this game, but like these two guys playing blitz would be something to watch. Like a 10-game match would be fun.
So what is White's plan here? I've played this opening with White too, and Black's being very clever, not castling on the king side, but he still has a problem of the rook at h8.
Yeah, and at some point it looks like he'll be able to castle, and there's so much action on the queen side that there's not enough time for White to mount a king side attack.
And White is trying to get Black to play pawn to d4. He's just dying for Black to play that. And then his own knight can go to e4 and create problems.
But that was a nice move to move the rook from f1 over to c1. It's
Yeah, it inhibits knight to d4 for Black.
yeah.
So in the under 1800 section, Sauce Jacobian is the sole 4.5 out of 5 player in clear first.
Wow.
And this is his game right now against Raj Tilak Jagannathan, who's got 4 points. But Sauce is playing Black. To me, doesn't look so great. What do you think?
Well, he's worried about that pin, and he just
Why didn't
White's
Black play
move.
bishop? Oh, I see. Bishop f6 is coming up now for White. Yeah, Black could be in some trouble, maybe, but he might be able to play queen d6 and castles queenside quickly.
And 2 other players in this section with 4 out of 4. This would be a fascinating game to watch. This is Ivan Zong.
4 out of 5. 4 out of 5.
4 out of 5. Sorry, 4 out of 5 against the Sebi Meister, Sebi Suarez.
And now Sebi seems to be getting better every tournament.
He plays a lot. Plays a lot of chess.
White's got 3 pawns.
Sebi, he'll be in your class tomorrow.
Cool.
3 pawns for a piece.
But Sebi seems to be winning one of the pawns back.
Yeah, winning one back here.
And his king is safe, so got a good edge.
Checking back on board 2 with Brian Escalante and Rui.
Rahman 12. Rui is such a resilient player, you know. This is a problem, though. This bishop b6, c5 doesn't look too good, but that might be now. This is a problem for Black here.
So the answer to the question is that we're monitoring the county and state guidelines, which change often. Judith had already started working on putting a plan together of best practices and and it's really dependent on what the law says. From the institute perspective, they want to make sure they do everything right and by the book. So, but the will and the desire to open and offer live chess is definitely there all the way around from mechanics. So as soon as it's safe and legal to do so, in adherence with all the laws, we're going to be offering it right away. I mean, we want nothing more than to be back at mechanics, offering tournaments, doing live chess. But I just can't say exactly when, only because the people above me can't tell me exactly when. But I can tell you for a fact, and not as, playing politics, that there is a commitment to have live chess back. And as soon as we're able to, we will be ready to go. Well, St. Louis is back, but the laws in Missouri regarding opening are very, very, very different from the laws here in California with regards to that. So, and that's a lot of people get confused. Like they'll say Charlotte's back and all this is back. But it's the state. I mean, in Florida, you could have super states there, and nobody's. They just had a big UFC event in Jacksonville, Florida, with 16,000 people there. So, but I mean, we will when we can safely open, we will be back, and we'll be able to have probably the facility half filled. Normal. I mean, we can normally hold 90 players at the Mechanics Institute in the chess room, so it'd probably be half of that. But we'll be ready. But unfortunately, I can't say for sure when. But we do expect it to be very, very soon. And I know that doesn't give much, but that's what I can. That's what I can give. What do you think about Rui's position?
Yeah, Brian is better. It's a little nagging edge. It's can't win anything right away, but it's got more squares.
Yeah, just gotta wait it out. Lot of chess still left to go.
Yeah, I think White might try to play c5, rook a4, and bring the rook back over to the king into the center. Maybe.
And
but
Judith,
I don't know. It's complicated.
Judith's in the chat, Florida. Yeah. And since this is the last round, we got to give major props as always to Judith Starre, the chief TD. Amazing job yet again with the all the tournaments and the TNM, everything going smooth. And I watched a fantastic UFC event this past weekend, and they had that arena filled, 16,000. And whatever you feel about that, from a fan perspective, it was exciting and fun to watch a UFC card with actual fans and just the crowd, and it just felt good. It just felt good to see it.
As long as it doesn't turn into a super spreader event.
Yeah, of course, right? As long as it doesn't turn into a super spreader. But it was fun to see what normal looked like again.
Yeah.
So no problem. Judith, as usual, I try to give her props. She rejects it. But we all know. There's no one that doesn't know the great job she does. So fantastic.
What's going on here, Nick? Judith, we love you.
Yeah. More floors at MI and distancing may do it. So we can build up and create more floors, more chess room. like more cowbell, more chess room. What do you guys think of
Well,
this?
Very sharp.
Yeah, I think we should add more floors.
More floors. If you've been to the chess room, there was one time I was joking. If we open the windows, because if you open the windows to the chess room, there's like a little terrace area outside.
Yeah.
I said, let's put some tables outside.
Yeah, yeah. I actually have talked to a trustee or two about doing that, setting up an outside patio area.
Patio area. Lex wants us to just shut down the library for chess.
Now, we could have a really big chess tournament if we took over the library for a week.
Yeah, we could. I mean, especially you use the second and third floor,
Yeah.
and all those little single tables in between the stacks.
What's happening with Gadir's game?
We're-
This is interesting.
But we digress. All right, back to Gadir's game here. So you got me lost on reopening. Yeah.
Well, this F4 is a little aggressive. I'm wondering if the E4 point can be. White wants some more solid position, and if things open up, the bishops can be nice.
Very interesting position. And who's on board 3?
That was actually board 1 was Gadir. Board 2 was Brian and Rui. Board 3 was Stearman and Max. But let's take a look at Michael Wang and Mike Walder
The two Michaels.
on board 4. Kind of slowly building.
Yeah, I mean, we've been lucky in the chess community that it's just, there's such a natural segue to the online world.
Yeah, we were lucky because I know a lot of people that had their own passions and their own activities that they love doing that they couldn't transfer online, right? It wasn't something transferable to online. You know,
Black looks good here. Not to change the subject or anything.
and when you say not to change the subject, that means you just change the subject. Patrick
I'm
on board
terrible
2.
at that.
Patrick on the board. He's all work it. Yeah, we do have chess supporters on the board, no doubt about it. Mark Pinto, and actually Mike Hilliard, who's playing in this tournament.
Mark Pinto.
Yeah.
And knight h5 comes. Black's ready for f5 maybe, or knight f4.
And
Yeah, but white is okay. Like bishop to b5 would play the light good bishop.
as Christian Clemens just said in the chat.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
thank you, Christian.
yeah, Christian, good move. For
Wow,
sure.
look at that. You're thinking like a GM, Christian. Thinking like a GM.
Seems the right way to go. Bishop b5.
And Kyron Griffith.
Players.
Kyron Griffith is playing Jeffrey Wang, and Jeffrey Wang's usually
We
a
should see that game.
tough opponent, but Kyron
What's the
is
standings up at the top now?
the standings right now, and I have the standings ready to go for the end of the tournament. But Gadir's in sole first with 4.5. We have 4 players with 4, including Brian Escalante, Rui Yang Yan, Eric Hahn, and Max Gadajlovic.
Oh, wow.
And then Stearman, Mike Walder, Michael Wang at 3.5.
And where's Kyron? Does he have 4?
3. Him
3.
and Eric Lee, because he lost to Eric Hahn.
Right. And took 2 draw half point.
And then took 2 half-point buys. Yeah, that's what.
Well, this isn't looking good for Kyron, I would say, since he's winning something here.
Since he's going to win a piece?
Since he's crushing.
This looks good for Kyron since he's absolutely crushing Jeffrey Wang.
Yeah.
This is horrible for Black. Oh, jeez.
Wow, look at this. We're talking about Sauce's position here.
Sauce going for first.
Going for first. He's in sole first now, but you may not know it based on what this position looks like.
Oh, last game he was in a little bit of trouble too, and he wormed his way out.
Got out of it, yeah.
So he has his own ideas about how to play chess. And I find that to be a very interesting thing about a chess player, when they have their own ways of playing.
Yeah. Like their own style, like their own.
Yeah.
So keeping an eye on this, but let's go back to.
And he's got this idea of sacrificing and crushing. That's a pretty good idea.
So much he legally changed his name on chess.com to sacrifice and crush. Legally changed his name on chess.com.
And I think Max better castle soon. Otherwise, Josiah will be getting the initiative on the queen side.
And then White's going to be ready to play knight e4 and knight f6 or something, or knight e4 and knight g6. Meanwhile,
It's not so easy to checkmate Black on the king.
No.
But yeah, Max is getting in a little bit of trouble and using up some time. Ooh.
He's trying to play knight takes e5 or knight c5.
Knight would sit well on c5.
Yeah. Still doesn't quite trust castling.
Little skeptical of castling, huh? You get a little suspicious of that move. And Sebi Suarez.
Did you ever think it possible, Nick, to watch your opponent's eye movements and predict where they were going to move based on how their eyes were scurrying over the board?
Yes, sometimes you see which side of the board they're focusing on.
Yeah, I me too.
Yeah, over the board chess is different that way. You pick up some more information about your opponent.
Yeah. But is that helpful though, to see what side they're looking on? Because a lot of the times it may be pretty obvious what side of the board you have to play. So it'd really be.
I think everything is helpful, and adds to the,
And Sebi Suarez is in the chat. Congratulations. He won. He beat Ivan Zong. So Sebi has 5 out of 6.
Nice. Congratulations.
Good
And-
job, Seti.
Yeah, and depending on what happens in this game, I think he could be looking at a possible tie for first.
So if knight takes e5, Nick. Oh, bishop e5 and queen c6. Okay.
Yeah,
Black's
queen
got a
e5.
castle here, I think.
And if knight to c5, maybe you trade the queens anyway with white. So
Yeah, and black is going to have to play king f8 or something.
Yeah.
Ugh,
So
that may not work for black.
so there is castles. I hate to keep saying it, but it's a legal move.
So resigning can be a mouse slip too. I've noticed. That happened to me. I resigned, I think, instead of offering a draw. Ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, I was skeptical of such things, but then I hear more and more stories about them. So
Yeah. Especially as the pandemic wears on and that more and more of this chess is taking place, it's almost comical how punch drunk the players become.
So it's true, Christian Clementis, you have to confirm your resignation.
and it's a function in chess.com where you can put that, where you confirm your resignation.
Oh, but you have to sign up for it.
Well, I mean, it's just hitting a button in chess.com.
But if you don't know about it, you might not.
Yeah, if you don't know about it, you're not going to know what the heck.
Huh. It sounds maybe it should be built in. You know what? Lichess has this thing if you're playing casual games where you can take a move back.
Right. Yep.
Or you can ask your opponent if you can take a move back.
Oh, okay.
It's just hilarious, I mean, like.
Well, if they let you take a move back, that's fair
Yeah.
enough.
And
in chess, there's something which I learned. I think it's called "you give no quarter and you ask no quarter." It's like
that's old school. Well, I mean, look at what happened last week in a game between Brian Escalante and Chelsea. There was a mouse slip that happened, and on Brian's part when he was trying to castle, and Chelsea agreed to basically take it back. They had to replay the position to the beginning, but I think in online chess, it's certainly up to the opponent whether they want it, because she didn't have to allow that. But with online chess, you can just go into the chat, and actually, this is sort of the advantage of running the tournaments the way we do, where we control the pairing and setting up the matches. Is we can sort of allow a rebuilding and a continuance if both people agree. So even though V Chess Masters in the chat saying that it can be done, it's there is a group of people that would say, and actually, Judith, what I'm about to say is that there's a group of people that say, I mean, the game should play as the game goes, and if it was a mouse slip, it should go on. I mean, I remember I was in a live game one time and I mistakenly touched a piece. I didn't intend to. And it was like move six. I was going to lose a queen then. And my opponent offered to let me take it back. Um, and I said, nah. I said, that's, it is what it is. And then I just resigned. Um, but yeah, take doing the takebacks can get a little bit messy, and it might put people in a bad position in terms of like, well, should I allow it? You know, because then you sort of look like a heel if you don't allow it, right? Or the
And you might allow it against one person and not another.
right, right,
Just 'cause, you know.
right. Yeah, because then if it gets allowed and then you don't allow it, I'm like, oh man, what's up with you, man? You don't have sportsmanship, right? Or something, right?
Well, I mean, I think I think the whole take back function in an online thing is it's kind of absurd.
I think when new learners are wanting to learn how to play and they're learning chess and do takebacks, I see the value of that, but certainly not in a tournament. I mean, that's a whole different animal.
So what's going on here, Nick?
Yeah, I think black's very okay there. But just
F6.
Just on this topic, I mean, you do remember about a month or so ago, Magnus Carlsen was winning a rapid game against Nepomniachtchi, and he did a mouselet, moving his queen where a pawn could take it. And he immediately resigned, not giving Nepomniachtchi an opportunity to let him take it back or anything.
And I think that to me is the correct sportsman approach. I mean, in an ideal, I mean, Carlsen and Nepomniachtchi are the ideal chess players in the sense that they're, Carlsen's he would never take back a move, and so he would never, anyway, I think I've explained it.
I remember one time, this was at the People's Tournament. I was playing an extra game against an opponent. And, I mean, it was a strong player. It was a 2000 player. And Judith, do you remember this? What I'm talking about? Because she was there. And I was playing an opponent, and he made a move that he didn't want to make, but he let the piece go. And he actually asked me if he could take it back. And I remember thinking in my head, I thought that was not an honorable thing to ask, because like I would never do that, right? But for some reason, I said, sure. Go ahead and take it back. So I let him take it back, and I thought I was being a sportsman, right? Yeah, I'll tell you who it was tomorrow. I don't want to say it on air. But I let him take it back, and I won the game anyway. But I remember thinking, and in the moment, I thought I was doing the sportsmanship. I mean, he didn't mean to put it there, all this stuff. And then I beat him anyway. And then after, I was thinking, that was a mistake. I shouldn't have done that, because the sort of like the honorable thing to do is say, you messed it up, right? Like I would have done that. I would have just resigned. I said I made that move, and I should have let it go. And I felt like I sort of reinforced the notion that, it's okay to ask for takebacks, right? And I said, looking back, I shouldn't have done that. And I probably set a bad example in making him think that it was okay to do that, right? Because like I didn't think it was okay.
Well, I don't think. I mean, I think he sets a worse example by asking to take a move back. I mean, I'm sorry, but that seems to me to be the worst sin there.
Oh no, I agree.
Yeah.
But like, you should have been like, no, what are you talking about? You can't take
You
it.
know, oh,
What's the matter with you? Right?
Bobby Fischer, I'm sorry I didn't make that move against you. Can I please take my move back?
And it's actually a player that I don't see playing anymore. So yeah, yep.
I mean, in the heat of battle, we all do strange things, including maybe even asking to take a move back. I can almost see that. Hosea, this is, of course, what he was going to do. And after queen takes g5, threatening what?
Maybe threatening h6, but Max will go f6. Try to.
And on takes rook f6, huh?
And to me, it's looking good for Max. That wonderful d pawn.
There's a bit of live by the sword, die by the sword thing with Hosea's play, So f6 here. And if maybe queen g4, I don't know.
Let me take a quick peek at Rui's game here with Brian Escalante.
Yeah, this is an interesting game too.
Oh, yeah, it's Brian, he's put those pawns on white to fix the double pawns. Rui's suffering. It's the slow torture.
Right.
It's like carbon monoxide poisoning, right? Like you're kind of like something's there, but you don't realize bad things are happening. Back to board one. How's Eric looking here?
He's got more time.
But Eric's got 5 minutes though.
Kadir is always way up on the clock. That being said,
White wants to play knight d4. Black probably is going to sack a pawn here with d4. That's my guess.
Yeah, that's
because otherwise it looks to me like white's better.
That bishop on b7 just looks like a big pawn.
Knight d4 followed by doubling rooks on the e file, overprotecting the e pawn or something. Black is probably quite a bit worse.
He like moves right into the scope of that bishop. Bishop's not protected.
Yeah, that's a strange move. Well, he's ready to play d4. Maybe first he's going to make the bishop move to h2 or something.
It stops knight to d4.
Yeah. Or does it? Maybe it's white's turn to sack a pawn with knight d4 or something.
Yeah.
And
bishop takes.
And then you trade and yeah, I mean, white would be not better there, obviously. You'd be a pawn down.
A rook e2. Oh, I don't know about that. You do your pawn to d4 sacrifice now? Oh, but that could be a little risky. Okay, no. Well, you don't take that queen. What? What kind of move was that? Oh, straightening out that horrible d5 pawn.
Yeah.
Why?
I mean, white's going to play knight d4 and rook e1 and then just say to black, what are you going to do? But
No, 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 no. You don't move that pawn from d5. It's
Yeah.
you just retreat queen to d2 and then knight to d4. That's oh.
Let black sack a pawn for this. Yeah.
I'm sorry, Eric. Eric, we should put you in jail for that move.
Wow. Even I haven't been so
It's a
extreme.
crime. Yeah, it's a crime. Wow, it's like an honest to God crime.
Yeah, I mean, I've said some pretty harsh things in my analysis, but Nick, that's really,
It should be in jail.
that's really gangster, man.
Oh, Eric, I was so impressed with your play. You were doing great. You had a nice advantage there.
Yeah.
Yeah, queen d2, rook to d1, or double rooks on the e file, knight to d4.
Yeah.
Little superficial play by white for sure.
Allowed the d5 pawn to get to c4.
Yeah, queen d2 here. Let black give up the pawn by suppose.
Yeah, I mean it's the whole idea was, that bishop wasn't good. Now it's good. Yeah, if I would have thought the pawn sacrifice was reasonable, but now you don't have to do it at all.
And now,
Wow, look at this. Like sacrificing Crush. We should just call him the magician or Houdini, because this is his position now.
Oh, I love watching him play.
He just alleviated all the pressure.
well, he's a pawn up. Look at that tactic. Does it work?
Yeah, player pawn up.
Yeah.
So we'll follow that. Oops.
Sacrificing Crush.
Sacrificing Crush.
Ooh, that ending doesn't look very good. Looks like it's 2 pawns down.
Yeah, that's bizarre that white would go in for this.
Yeah.
Well, I guess he can hold it to 1 pawn down with rook g7, rook f8, rook takes a7. But still,
I think black should have doubled rooks first, maybe.
And Kyron's in the chat. Yeah, he's saying rook d7, rook takes a7. White has all the activity. And then moving on to Stearman.
Yeah, let's stay here. This is very exciting. Wow, bishop c8, leaving the pawn hanging with check. Can you believe this?
that is a check. Okay, so you can go queen takes pawn check and queen d6. Oh. And then
Very odd.
but then Max maybe wants to trade and play knight c5.
Yes.
Also, doesn't taking on e6, even with check and moving the king out of the way, doesn't that now clear? It makes that bishop a better bishop on c8?
Yes, yes. But okay, it is a pawn.
Pawn's a pawn, right?
Bishop c8 is a cool-headed move if it works. It's quite the move.
Hey, Lex, you're in the chat. I mean, you should watch the TNM and then send us a poem on one of the games or one of the players. We'll publish that for sure.
So what's White's big move after King H8, Nick?
Um, if King H8, maybe you're forced to go Queen to D6. Can't see any other move. And that end game, it's very sharp. White's also got some squares. Oh, now that move I didn't think about.
Seemed like black is banking
Black is
that.
really playing uncompromising here. That might even be better. I mean, the king is closer to the center.
Yeah.
Oh, it's almost like whatever white does, black's going to be able to take on e5.
Take on e5 or discover on the queen or something like that.
Yeah, so if now Queen D6, take on E5, the Queen on C7 is guarded.
Yes. Yes. Hosea must be like astounded that black played that move.
Maybe pawn takes F6, knight takes F6, Queen E5. Black's pieces are pretty good, though.
Yeah, the only problem with the rook at F7 is that it could get run into bishop D5 at some point. Hosea and the sword. Sounds like some,
Disney.
Just-
The sword.
yeah. I mean, with this online chess commentary, we're managing to get into territory that was never possible.
And this is the interesting thing. It's like, it's things like this where we're able to, bring a little personality to what we're watching, right? Because, the people and, the games and the people and, just it adds an element that just makes everything special when through the commentary and through the players that we know, right? With everyone that's in the chat and a lot of these players. I mean, it's people we know, and that's the thing about like a lot of online clubs. It's players playing. And, some clubs have players that they got like a lot of people playing, but you may not know who they are and you don't know who you're playing, and this often feels like we're sitting down playing with the people that we expect on Tuesday nights at the club, right? So that helps, and we've been able to expand the outreach to new people that have become the regulars online, right? Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Look forward to it every week.
Could we take a look at Sus's game? Playing for first place.
Yeah, playing for all the marbles. I think Kyron was saying he thought White could hold this, and what do you think?
Oh
yeah, maybe.
Sus lost a pawn.
Actually, material's even.
Oh, why did he do that? Well,
even if Sus draws, the worst he can do is tie for first. He'd be tying with Sebi.
Well, black's got a draw in hand. I mean, all he has to do is take the A pawn. But what about Gadir's game?
Go back to board one.
Thanks everybody for hanging with us.
And this is absolutely funny. I'm watching Gadir's game. In the game chat, Judith is chatting with a FIDE master from Australia. And she's trying to sign him up with the USCF membership and play the TNM.
Nice.
And I guess he previously had a USCF membership and it was expired, but it's funny.
So, I mean, this doesn't look like Black's got anything here, really. I don't. White puts the knight on f3, and there's the a6 pawn to worry about.
Well, it's not so terrible, but
Yeah, there's still
little
chances.
better for Black.
Yep. Black will try things like h6, g5, whatever.
And of course, you know, Gadir is up by 13 minutes on the clock.
Incredible.
Well, exchanges help.
Yeah, now knight takes b5 is a threat. Oh, no, it wasn't. So now Gadir is going to target the e5 pawn, huh? With rook e8 or something. It's a long, long way to Tipperary.
Maybe Eric will just sit tight and hold on, like pawn to h4 even, and just guard that e pawn. Say, how are you going to get me?
Let me go back to board two real quick. See what is going on in this game.
There's definitely ways for White to lose this game. I think Gadir is going to bring this. He backed up to e5, just like you said, Nick.
Yeah, it's probably no advantage for White.
White's up a pawn.
Oh, this Max just always
Going for it.
Going for it, yes. And that's a very aggressive move. The pawn's a little loose there.
And check the position of this game out between Brian Escalante and Rui. Brian with 3 minutes left on the clock to Rui's 9.
Well, now we're in rook and pawn ending territory. This, you know.
Very sharp. The c6 pawn is going, but Rui's played actively, trying to get a check in.
She definitely has that counter punching style.
2.5 minutes. Alexi Root is in the chat. Hey, Alexi.
Yeah, hi, Alexi. Finally.
Finally. Not welcome, Alexi. Hey, thanks for doing it. Hey, finally, Alexi.
Yeah, where were you? The whole thing was falling apart.
Two minutes.
Yeah. Rui, now she always is a tough out. She comes back from a lot of games, doesn't she?
Yes. Yeah.
I think with perfect play, she's probably lost, but this is very complicated.
Wow.
I think maybe you go king c4, rook e3, take on d4.
Oh, this allows black to keep the D pawn.
Yeah. Rook checks, king c4, rook c3. Oh, it's risky, but
Maybe white should keep the king on D. So after rook e3 check, instinct says to play what? King c4 or king d2? I guess in positions like this, there's no instinct.
what happens on rook c3 check, king b5, rook b7 check? The king has to go back to a4.
It could go to a6, right?
And then rook takes b4.
Oh, rook takes b4.
Threatening mate.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, Rui's really fighting.
Wow.
Rook c3 check, king b5, rook b6 check, king a4, maybe pawn to a5. No, that doesn't quite
Rook
work.
b7 check is, and then maybe d3, although rook d6 is white's move. Oh, I see. Huh. Why is a5 not working?
I think you can just go pawn to b5 and there's no checkmate.
My phone's ringing.
The sounds of San Francisco. Well, we'll keep an eye on this game, but let's go back to this one with Stearman and Max.
And Brian is keeping a cool head.
And just going back to see how we got to where we got.
Oh, black has queen f2 check? No. Can I call you back? Can I call you back? I'll call you back. Could black have played queen f2 check and knight g4 check?
I think that lost.
Okay. And now we have what must be an equal game.
Well, that black king might be a little unsafe.
Queen e6.
Queen e6 seems like the
Queen c5 check. King e8.
Neo.
Oh, tough.
Which one was the reality? Was it the red or the blue? And the phone call, the Matrix phone call. Which one was the red? Was the red reality or was it the blue? Or the pill?
I don't know. I mean, that must be taken from.
It's from the Matrix.
Oh, okay. I was thinking of Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah, the phone would ring and then you'd be transported. But in the Matrix, you had the option of taking the red or the blue pill. One pill would show you reality as it is, and the other pill would keep you in your make believe that you're not aware of what's really going on, which is something a lot of us try to achieve, try not to be aware of what's really going on.
Yeah, even if we're not trying.
Even if we're not trying. Gadir Guseynov wins the game. This is the final position. Just closed in And
Marched in with the king.
yeah,
Oh, ouch.
Ouch is right.
and congratulations to Gadir, who takes down
Congratulations.
another TNM, but this time in clear first.
Yeah, Eric just got low on time. He was suffering a bit.
And Judith, what is the orange pill? I have the orange pill right here. I don't know if you can see it.
I have the Altoid pill.
What is the orange pill?
Me and Hans Niemann.
Altoids?
Uh-huh.
Back to Escalante.
Okay, looks like that
That's it.
pawns.
It's gonna roll on down. Huh?
King F8. And then white makes a pass pawn on the oh, I see what black's trying to do here.
Don't think it's working.
No. Well, this was a tough game.
Yeah.
Yeah, white's gonna rely on the other two pawns.
We would have gotten a lot of people in that position, but Brian, he's just too good. Didn't get nervous when his king had to run all around.
Look at Mike Walder here.
Should be, it looks like a winning endgame for black to me. Although, yeah, that pawn should cost white plenty.
So keep an eye on this, but let's go back to this game with Stearman and Max.
As Max played well, but how much time left? 50 seconds. Sai is going to try to be tricky as usual.
Yeah, with F4, F5 or something.
Ah.
That's odd that black would come up like that. Oh, there was a mate. There was a mate, right? If King G8, Queen D8, King F7, Bishop G6.
Yeah.
That's the kind of thing that you don't want to fall for. Bishop G6 is going to pick up the G7 pawn.
Yes. Now, but will Josiah be tricky in the queen to D8? No, just grabbing the pawn.
Or can he grab the pawn?
Well,
Queen
because
F8,
there's
Bishop
no
F7?
No checks.
Oh, Queen D4 check, yeah. Might
And
be
there-
winning for white, huh?
there are no checks after he takes the pawn on G7. "20 seconds. Oh no, Max will not be able to hold this one.
H6. This is brutal.
This would
You can stop the queen. Unless he can, or maybe Queen D4 check, centralize first, and then H6. Clock difference worth a rook. Yeah, I think he should have played Queen B4 check first, but this probably still is good.
Yeah, he'll
Just so tough. It's almost you can't allow a check. If you allow a check for black, then with
Well,
that
this is
bishop,
it now. H7, Queen D1, King H2. No more checks. Horrible. Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Hosea, nice game.
What a win!
oh
Big win. So Josiah Stearman will be at 4.5 points, and that might take him to third. Both players have at some point in the game declined draws here. Gosh, that's kind of a weird looking position.
I think White's on his last legs, maybe, but
no more check.
No checks.
no checks and threatened with mate in one.
You know that that last move was like
Oh, a Paul Whitehead move.
that was the Paul Whitehead, exactly, right? It's like, oh,
Hey, I only tried that once.
Maybe he won't see that. And congratulations, Mike Walder. That was a big win against a tough opponent. And I believe all the games may be done. And then we'll have updated standings soon. As soon as we get the final standings, we'll put them up on the broadcast so everyone can see.
What happened to Seuss?
He drew his game. So he is going to end up, I believe, in a tie for first with Sebi.
And I'll be right back.
Yeah. So, Sos drew that game. And looks like we'll tie for first with Sebi Suarez, who had a great win against Ivan Zong. And what a tournament. What a game with Stearman and Gadajlovic. Never disappoint with just the action games, just exciting fighting games. Oh, one more game? There's one more game going. Let's see if I can spot who that is. It's in the bottom. It's Joshua Lamstein's game. Let me see if I can pull it up. This is it right here. The final game of the tournament. Down a queen for a rook and some pawns.
Yes, but there's some chances.
Yeah. There's some tactics.
Oh no, you lose your rook on a7.
Yep, tactics going on there.
That's a shame. Time pressure. There was some other things to try instead.
Time. And that is it. Black wins. Congratulations. That was looking on the sheet. Gabriel Nam against Joshua Lamstein. So that is a wrap. All games completed, and we'll get the updated standings, the tentative final standings up shortly, and we will put them up. But
wow.
Yeah.
Nice Congratulations.
Tournament. Nice tournament. Another
Gadir.
big tournament in the books. Gadir doing what Gadir does. Wow. Just looking at
It's interesting with just how powerful a player he is. And when he doesn't feel like playing, he offers a quick draw.
Because he's gotten some bad positions, but he always finds his way out of it.
Yeah, he's a tenacious player. Very, very tenacious. That was quite a game against Stearman. I mean, he's been lost in some games.
All right, so I think we have it, but let me pull up the shortly. Let me get it up. There we go. And so there it is. You guys happen to be on the wrong side of the Twitch screen. I'm sorry, but you're here with us in spirit.
That's fine.
Austin Mize in the chat. How's it going? And these are the final standings. Tentative, of course, pending the fair play. Actually,
I'm not seeing the number one.
Boom. There we go. There it is. Gadir Guseynov, first place with 5.5 points. Brian Escalante takes second with 5, clear second. And 4.5 points. Josiah Stearman and Mike Walder, they share tie for third. So congratulations. And then with 4 points, Kyron Griffith, Eric Lee, Rui Yang Yan, Eric Hahn, Max Gedajlovic, David Askin, who beat Jonah Bush in the last round, and Philip Gerstoft, which is an impressive result for him. So those are the top standings in the top section. And then going to the under 1800. Whoops. Messing this up. There we go. Sauce Hakobian and Sebi Suarez.
Wow.
5 out of 6. Tie for first. And then 3 players tie at 4.5. Nicholas Brown, Rashtilak Jagannathan, and Adam Stafford with 4.5 points.
Wow.
Congratulations to all
the Sacrificing Crush and the Sebi Meister.
Yeah, it's kind of fun to see those two players because Sauce, of course, he's a mechanics regular. And Sebi has sort of been an online mechanics regular. So it's fun to see those players come up on top.
And it's great to see Nicholas Brown playing.
Yeah, Nicholas Brown playing some chess, getting in there.
Yeah.
And bring us back here.
Mike Hilliard with 3 points.
Yeah. Mechanics board member. Congratulations, Sauce, in the chat.
Yeah. Thank you, Sauce.
And
Sebi.
And Sebi, yeah, you too. Sebi. And before we kind of wrap this up, just kind of want to thank again. I want to thank you guys, Nick and Paul, providing the coverage, helping everyone see what many of us mere mortals can't see. So thanks for being a part of it, and thanks to Judith in the back, always working her magic, keeping everything looking like it's easy, even though we know it's not. So thanks, Judith, for everything you do. And thank you to the people in the Twitch chat, because it's the people that comment on Twitch and interact, sort of bring like life and passion to what we do on the Tuesday nights. It's a lot of fun. And that's what it's about, just like bringing everything to life. And, it's hard we try to do it as commentators as best we can, but certainly just people showing up and interacting in the chat just makes all the world of difference, just kind of gives soul to everything we do. So thank you to the viewers, and thank you to the players. for sort of trusting the Mechanics Institute to do things the right way and giving us exciting games. We expect live chess coming back to Mechanics very, very soon. Hang with us. All of us in the chess room want to get back in there and do games live. As soon as we're able to do that, we will be there. We look forward to seeing a lot of people coming back to Mechanics in a socially distanced and appropriate way, I have to say. So, what do you guys think? Any party?
It was a good tournament.
It just keeps the club atmosphere. Everybody comes back, shares their stories, the ups and downs of the games.
Yeah, the ups and downs of the games, of the players, just everything. And before we do sign off, this we got a busy weekend this weekend. Saturday morning we have a club match against the Zurich Chess Club. We'll be broadcasting that. We'll send out all the information if you're on our email list or follow our Facebook. You're gonna get that. So we're playing the Zurich Chess Club on Saturday morning, and then on Sunday we will be having the Schutt Brandwein Jay Whitehead Memorial Blitz. 12 rounds of game in 3+2, completely free. You do have to register. Chelsea is playing a random 1-minute bullet game, so that's the bonus coverage that's up there. And sign up for that.
What time is the club match?
10 a.m. I think, or is it 10:30, Judith? We had a meeting with them this morning. I think I remember seeing it as 10:30, but we'll confirm that shortly. And rating, we can send to the Count or to the Chess Dojo, but let's send you to the Chess Dojo because they rated us during the arena. So no, they're doing something different. What's the Count? Oh yeah, he's just playing. We're gonna send you to Grandmaster Christian Kurilla, a good friend of ours, and send everyone that way. Enjoy, Christian. Thank you everyone for watching TNM, and we will see you this weekend, 10:30 against Zurich this Saturday morning. Bye everyone.
Okay.